So we've got to start listening to ourselves and stop correcting and fixing, because the gold is in the evidence. So if you've been involved in personal development and have been on a spiritual path for some time, please watch this, because I'm going to address something that is so critical and that I would say pretty much all my clients trip up on when we first start working together. This one thing can change so much in your life because it's based in the subconscious, and the subconscious is responsible for 95% of the decisions that are operating in your life. And it's not that hard for us to course correct. Welcome back to Raw Radically Aligned Women. I'm so happy you're here. I have been coaching women for 30 years, and I am passionate about women attaining personal and financial freedom and being empowered to create the change that the world is asking for. It's easy to hear that the subconscious is responsible of 95% of our decisions, but it's not so easy to actually process what that means. You know, if I said to you, there's this incredible investment, you could make 100 times your money, and there's a 5% chance that you will, and there's a 95% chance that you'll lose it. You would probably be like, that's okay, thank you. And yet we invest all our belief in our conscious mind, which is really only responsible for 5% of what we're living. So there was I honestly don't remember, and it's true, that there was a particular research done, and it went like this. A European architecture firm hired a well-known American architect to fly out there and design some setup. They picked him up from the airport when he arrived there. They took him to the office. He designed, he did all these things, he worked, he did his thing. And I'm not doing the story justice because it's quite involved, but I don't want to take all that time. I just want you to know this. This is a fact, that the day that he was to reveal the model that he had created, in other words, his design, they had hidden a design that they had made before he arrived. And he showed them theirs, and they said, well, that's very close to what we had in mind. And he prided himself on his creativity, he was great at what he does. And he didn't really believe it. And they said to him, from the moment that you arrived, we basically manipulated. We took you a certain route so that you saw certain buildings, certain signs, all of that your subconscious took in. So we want to show you how we influenced you with you being completely unaware. And they showed the model that they had made up of what they had in mind and how they'd set it up so that he would see these things on his first trip to the office. It was, I think there were like a couple of minor things different, but it was pretty much the same model. That is insane. When I first encountered that, I read it and read it. I was like, is that true? And I researched it. This is years ago. So I'm sorry I don't recall, but it is true. And I can try and find it, but I wanted to bring you this message. So think about that. That is so profound. And the reason I'm saying this is not because you're not empowered. Yes, we are being influenced all the time, but that's not why I'm saying it. I'm saying it because so often clients who, and I work with smart, conscious women. So they've learned, for example, a client says, yeah, I was fighting that emotion. And then they catch themselves and they say, because they've learned consciously, that's not a good way to phrase it. So then they quickly rewind and say, well, I wasn't fighting it. What I mean is, and they correct it. This happens so often. The issue with this is, it's pure gold. The fact that the subconscious gave up fighting is a clue, it's a hint, it's a way in to find the belief or what's governing what's really going on. So instead of being, no, that's not what I meant and all the explanation, rationalization, justification. But that doesn't change anything. That's on the surface level. If we actually are willing to go in and go, I said fighting. I wonder, when's the first time I remember feeling like I needed to fight my emotion? And go back there and see what belief you formed, what decision you made. It will be a roadmap out of that. So we've got to start listening to ourselves and stop correcting and fixing, because the gold is in the evidence. So you throw out the evidence and you pretend it didn't exist and then you carry on. But essentially that keeps you in that same paradigm because you're not listening to yourself. So you've got to hear what you say. We're not here to catch ourselves out. We're here to evolve into our highest potential. And that means uncovering the subconscious beliefs and blocks that are holding us back, that are holding us there. So promise me, you'll stop fixing yourself. Stop, I didn't mean that, I meant this. And start listening. What is the message? Where is it pointing a light for me to go into that dark with this light now and start to see and uncover my deeper truth? Because we know the first 7 years of our life, that's the program that is running us. That's the subconscious program. And that's what's making our decisions. That's what's the beliefs to which we will stay loyal until they're uncovered, re-examined, and different beliefs created or different decisions made. This is why often you do all the things right to manifest and it doesn't happen. We can't pretend that this isn't informing the outcome. It absolutely is. Please let me know this makes sense to you and that you're going to start listening and start listening specifically. We've got, because of all the multitasking, and people tend to listen to a general meaning. So you catch a few words, and I actually call it the lost art of listening. You catch a few words and you make up a general meaning about what it is. We always go back to being present, being in the now. Be present, hear what you're hearing. What did they say? Exactly. Don't go to generalization. The brain receives millions of bits of data per second, and it can only process about 40 bits. So what it does is generalize, distort, delete. What do I mean by that? Generalize, it says that's a hand. Is it a woman's hand, a child's hand, an adult? You know, it just puts into a general category and it distorts. It just makes a pretty package of it because it's too much information, and it deletes. Have you ever looked for something in your house and then suddenly it was there? It was there all the time, but the brain wasn't processing it. Start listening. Practice being present in the now. Breathe, be present, be in your body. And follow the clues. They're gold. They're like a little treasure map. Yes, you may need help with navigating that terrain. And you can start today to stop fixing or correcting yourself and start hearing what is really being said. I love you. I hope this helps, because I am devoted to 2022 being the year that you're empowered and financially free. Thank you for being here. Like, comment, subscribe if you got value, so that more women can be set free, because that's what the world needs. It's the time of the new divine feminine. I love you. Namaste.